Hey, before I start, I would like to thank everyone who watched and commented on my previous video. It really gives me extra motivation to keep making new content. So, thank you. And in this video, I would like to present and go through, surprise surprise, my yet another DIY MIDI controller. You might have already seen it in this video. Well, let me show you crossfader. It also starts with the letter X, just like my previous controller. I like that idea and the continuity in the name, and it sounds good overall. A bit about the background of making this device. The main source of inspiration came from crossfader in the Electron Octo track. I really like the concept of single fader that can control many parameters simultaneously, and most importantly with customizable start and end points. Of course, in Octatrack this is handled in a very cool way by close hardware integration of the fader into the device itself. But this is both a great pros and cons, as I would like to use this feature in separation from Octatrack. For instance, with some DAW or other hardware scenes like Synthstrom Deluge, Teenage Engineering devices or others. And so I started thinking about creating a MIDI device that could come close to this functionality as much as possible. The first step was what the minimal but sufficient set of controls I would like to have in it. Of course, it all starts with the microcontroller, and here is no change. As always, it's Arduino Pro Micro. Maybe the only question was which USB port to choose, but because of the large number of Type-C cables I already have, the choice was obvious. For sure we need the fader itself, and we need this fader with linear change of values. I'm not quite happy with this one that I have, as it has a quite big blind zone in the beginning. Next, OLED screen with I2C interface to be able to set up and view value changes, but more on that later. Clicky endless encoder for menu navigation, and my favorite part in this, the keyboard switches. They are much more pleasant to press than the usual button that's used in Arduino projects. Well, I will not bore you with more talks about components, so let's move on to the most interesting part, the review of features. So let's start with terminology. We have 4 pages. By page you can understand it as a group of control change parameters. Next, each page has 16 tracks. In simple words, 16 control change parameters. Each track has two sides, basically left and right. And lastly, each side has 4 variations. It's kind of like stage in Octatrack. I think it's called like that, correct me if I'm wrong. Simply speaking, you can have some values on the left side, then move fader to the right, then switch the variation of the left side, and when you move fader to the left again, it will have a totally different value. Hopefully some of this explanation is clear for you, but I will demo all of this a little bit later. So let's jump to Ableton and we will try to map 4 parameters to first 4 tracks on page 1. By clicking some buttons from first row, it sends MIDI messages that helps to find it in program. You may notice that all parameters move at the same time and with the same values. Let's change it. By pressing left side button and some track and turn the encoder, it will change value for this side. And of course the same for another side. By pressing 2 side buttons and the track button, it will flip the values. To make it more fun, I add some randomization by clicking the encoder when you hold some side button and track. And now we have something more interesting. Parameters are changing in different directions and with different values. Let's maybe try it on some synth engine for fun. Now let's try it on Deluge. For this synth I even have a couple of interesting recipes for effects. So first one is simple crossfade. next effect is called tape stop. One more is reverb build up. And lastly, this is repeat effect. If device has no MIDI learn function but still support external control change MIDI messages, such as OPZ, you can look at the documentation and find which control change parameter is responsible for what, and set this parameter number into crossfader settings. In conclusion, I would like to once again thank everyone who watched up to this moment and especially liked this video. I will leave all links to the project documentation and schematic in the description. Also feel free to ask any related questions you have in the comments. I try to answer them all. Well, and see you in the next videos.